Good evening. Welcome, fellow members, ladies and gentlemen, to this meeting of the Council. I would just like to welcome also formally and congratulate our newly crowned alderman to the meeting as well. We had a lovely ceremony and presentation last Wednesday, and I'd just like to formally thank Councillor Duncan and Councillor Potter for their input in that as well. It was great. So thank you for that. As we continue, please ensure that your mobile phones are switched off or on silent. For members of the public in particular, if there is an emergency, the evacuation points obviously are at the door where you came in or at the front here, and we assemble in the car park outside. Item 2, apologies for absence.
Mr. Chair, we've received apologies from councillors Paul Andrews, Graham, Hope and Rain.
Thank you. Any other apologies? No. Thank you very much. Unfortunately, this evening, Margaret Wallace and Anton Hodge can't be with us in person because they have got COVID, and we'll have Bernice obviously online to help on the legal side. So thank you to them in advance. Agenda item 3, public questions. There are no public questions this evening. And item 4, urgent business. There is no urgent business either. Item 5, declarations of interest. Do any members have any interests to declare under the Members' Code of Conduct? Oh, beg your pardon. Sorry. Oh no, they've got it wrong on my copy. I do apologise. Oh yeah. Sorry, yeah, 4 is declarations of interest. I will go with that one. Any declarations of interest according to the Members' Code of Conduct? No declarations this evening. Thank you. Agenda item 5, announcements. And there are no announcements this evening. So the agenda item 6, recommendations of the Grants Working Party, the SIL. This is the recommendation on pages 3 to 6, and Councillor Keel is going to introduce the recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, as you just said, the recommendation is on page 3 of your agenda, I believe. The minutes of the Grants Working Party are also included in your pack. So I'd like to move the recommendation from the Grants Working Party to approve the applications to the SIL Fund as detailed on page 5 of your agenda. Sorry, page 5. Thank you. I hope that's seconded.
Thank you very much. Any questions on that? Councillor Cleary.
It's not a question. I don't know whether I'm seconding it or a late declaration of interest that I'm member champion for sport and physical recreation. I'm happy to second it if there's nobody else you have needed.
Thank you. We've noted that. We'll take you as the seconder as well. Thank you, Councillor Cleary. Any other questions, Councillor Duncan?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was just wondering if Councillor Keel or potentially one of the officers present could just clarify exactly what we are approving this evening. And there isn't a covering report with this to provide the context to the SIL Fund and the decision which we're taking this evening. It's just simply the minutes of the Grants Working Party. And so I just wanted clarity as to exactly what decision this council is taking. Obviously, this is quite a significant decision, allocation of almost £3 million of capital funding, and the fact there isn't an associated report for something of such significance, I think it will be very worthwhile to have just some clarity about the decision which we're taking.
Thank you, Councillor Duncan. The decision we're making, as I've just said, is to move the recommendation from the Grants Working Party in the normal way that we do with grants. The successful applicants are on page 5 of your agenda. And so we are simply, as a council, agreeing the recommendations made by the Grants Working Party. And as we're all aware, painfully aware in my case, these will now go up to the new council for final decision. Thank you.
Just by way of clarity, Councillor Kill, you've also referred to the organisations as successful applicants. Can you just underline and clarify that the decision we're taking this evening does not mean that these organisations are guaranteed to receive this funding after this very lengthy process?
No, that's quite correct, Councillor Keane, because it's been to Councillor Duncan, because it's been taken out of our hands, because this council will no longer exist in a fortnight's time. So they are successful in terms of the application process and the very stringent process that all applicants had to go through to bring their applications to the Grants Working Party. So it's approval by this council. But as it states quite clearly, and I've just said, these will now go through to the new council for final decision. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? Councillor Goodrick.
Thank you, Chairman. I would just ask for the Chairman of Policy and Resources to confirm to me that this is the proper use of SIL funds under the planning auspices.
Thank you for that question, Councillor Goodrick. Absolutely. I think we've explained, or I explained in the past, and it was explained at the Grants Working Party, that every application that has come forward to us does fit within the SIL criteria in terms of infrastructure and associated projects that are laid out in the process for spending of SIL funding. So yes, they do meet the criteria, and the assessment process has been very strict and stringent.
Thank you. Any other? Councillor Oxley.
Yes, thanks. I'm just might be asking a question that can't have an answer. I understand where this has been referred to. Do we know what the process is in terms of timescales and how it will be dealt with?
That will be in the hands of the new council. They have announced fairly recently that they are not looking at Section 24 processes at the moment because they are getting a lot, I think, up through, and they are busy with organising a new council and making sure it's safe and legal on the first day. They are still assessing, I understand, applications that were already in prior to this announcement being made by their 151 officer, but this doesn't fall into that. The process will be that should we approve this evening, a letter will go to the leader of the current North Yorkshire Council with the details of these applicants, and we will request that they go through the Section 24 process.
Section 24 process. Is there a time frame for that? Is there a guaranteed time frame?
There isn't, no. We've asked, in the letters that we've sent about projects that need to go through this process, we are asking for a timeline. So we will do that in the letter about these, should this be approved this evening. But no, at the moment, we were told that they were prioritising. Sorry, is it not working? They were prioritising those applications. So at this stage, we don't know what the timescale is, unfortunately. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? Councillor Clark.
Are North Yorkshire aware that there has been a significant majority of councillors on this council supporting this repeatedly throughout the process?
Yeah, I think they will be made aware of that. I think they're very aware of it already from the communications we've had with them. But the letter that will go will make it clear, obviously, the vote this evening, and that, yes, there has been significant support. You're quite right. Thank you.
Thank you. Any others? No. So the recommendation has been moved and it's been seconded. Councillor Cleary, would you like to have a say?
Not at the moment, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Okay, we'll open it up for debate then. So, Councillor Keel.
So I was just going to introduce it in a
Yeah,
bit more
sorry.
detail. So yes, as you already know, the Grants Working Party has met and discussed the second stage applications for funds from the SIL Fund, as detailed in your agenda. I think those members who were present at that meeting will agree that there was some robust discussion around the applications, but we approved the applications you see before you, which are now subject to the Section 24 process, as we've just discussed. Just to mention, as was discussed at the last full council, the application for the Rydal Community Anaerobic Digester was withdrawn following the successful bid to council approved at the last full council. It should be noted that the process that all these applications went through, both in the first and second stages of the process, was very stringent and rigorous, and applicants who couldn't meet the requirements within the timescales of the process were rejected. I'd like to thank all the officers, led by Faye and Amy, who've been involved in this critical assessment process. We all recognise the short timescale involved, and it's been very hard work for them to pull the scheme together. But members, please don't be worried that by this short timescale, that we don't think that this process was delivered too quickly. I can absolutely assure you it has been thorough and strict, with officers really stretching the applicants to gather all the information they needed for the successful bids. I trust, therefore, members will recognise that we're proposing to spend Rydal's money here on some excellent and well-planned projects, supporting some brilliant local organisations, schools and charities to deliver much needed schemes in Rydal whilst we're still here, even for only 2 more weeks as a sovereign council. I'll probably come back a bit later. So thank you.
Thank you. So we'll go into debate now. Councillor Potter.
Thank you, Chair. Just like to fairly briefly state the obvious. Community Infrastructure Levy is what SIL stands for. That is whenever new development is built, a levy is put upon the developers to pay for infrastructure for the community. That's why it's called SIL. And what we are doing here is spending money that's been collected by Rydal District Council on development in Rydal, and we are spending it, hopefully, in Rydal on the community for infrastructure projects. And really, there's nothing much more I can say other than the fact that I sincerely hope that what has been a democratic decision by this council will be taken by North Yorkshire as a democratic decision to spend Rydal's money on the community in Rydal on infrastructure. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Mason.
I think Diane, Mike have already covered the technical points, but I'd like to put a different spin on this as well, is that these applications have galvanized action in the communities as well. And I see, I can give one example, and they're in the room tonight, actually, and I have to commend that I am truly astounded by the amount of money they've raised in 3 weeks. They've already hit a target of £41,000 in 3 weeks towards the project, to contribute to the project. So this is not just relying on our council money, it is bringing together the community to support the infrastructure in Slingsby. So I think we should be also looking at that part of this as well, that I'm hoping all the other projects are doing the same thing and raising funds to fill the gaps as well. So yeah, I would like to tip a hat to Slingsby, because it's I thought it was a typo at first. So well done.
Thank you. Any others for the debate? No. Councillor Cleary.
Mr. Chairman, as seconder, I will take this moment now to use that privilege to second this motion. I've not much to add to what's already been said. However, if you will forgive me a sporting analogy, let's breast the tape in this race. We've got a fortnight to go. Let's keep going till right at the end, and this is an excellent way to finish. Thank you, members, and thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Councillor Rybee.
Thank you, Chairman. It gives me pleasure to, in anticipation of it being voted through, in complimenting this council on approving, hopefully, the motion for the sills distribution. There's been doubt in my mind whether we'd ever get here, but hopefully, I touch wood that we will vote for it tonight, and I compliment everyone that votes for it. So pleased for this council to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Keele.
Thank you. Yes, I'll be brief. I'm getting some really pleasing positive responses from around this chamber this evening, and I'm absolutely delighted. As I've said, we know that the future of these applications and the essential schemes that they seek to deliver, if approved this evening, will lie in the hands of the new council. I just trust that members who sit on the new council will use their influence to ensure that these applications pass through the processes at North Yorkshire smoothly and the funds are released as approved by this council to these very worthwhile projects. Make no mistake, members of the Grants Working Party, other soon to be ex-members of this council, the applicants and the public will be watching the future of this progress of this scheme with great interest. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Duncan.
Could I request a recorded vote, please, Mr. Chairman? I think I've got
Thank you. Yeah. Okay, I think we've sufficiently been through what we need to for this, so we'll go to the vote. Thank you.
Chair, that's 18 votes for, 1 against and 1 abstention.
Thank you. The motion is carried. Just before we move on, I just want to make an apology, I guess, for the quality of the sound for those people who are listening and the recording. Nikki has informed me that basically it's the microphones are on the last legs, so it's not just the council, it's the microphones as well. So I do apologise. Yeah, we'll try and go quicker. So thank you for that. Agenda item 7, the annual governance statement. This is on pages 7 to 28, and I'm going to hand over to Anton to deliver this. Thank you.
Yeah, good evening, members. I can hear okay, actually. Microphone sound is fine here, so I hope you can hear me okay. I just want to introduce this report, and thank you for permitting me to do so. This is normally a report that would go through Overview and Scrutiny Committee after the end of the financial year. It's finalised at the signing of the annual accounts, which has in recent years been November, December time. And previously a draft has gone through the Overview and Scrutiny around about May or June time. Now this year, because obviously of the termination of the council on the 31st of March, we have on all the councils been asked to take a draft through each council for 2 reasons. Firstly, to allow members of the existing councils to see that draft at least, and also gives members a chance to make any comments, to feedback comments to me, which I can then take into account when we do the final annual governance statement, say, which won't happen until after vesting day anyway. So it sets out 2 things really. It sets out our governance arrangements. Not much has changed since last year. And in fact, the last time that scrutiny saw this would have been in November, December time. So again, not very much has changed since then. Where it has changed is just give you an update on some of the key issues that we identified this time last year. We do identify normally those key issues for the new financial year as part of this. And obviously this time we're not doing that. But we are giving an update on where we got with some of those things in the last few pages of the report. Excuse me. Obviously the new council will consider these alongside all the other annual governance statements when it sets out its priorities for the new year. I don't think I want to say any more than that, but I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Councillor Potter.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I just have a couple of questions. The first one, bearing in mind the sensitivity as we will later be going into exempt, but on page 11, second bullet point from the bottom, it says the chief executive post is also an assistant chief executive at North Yorkshire County Council. So in view of the next agenda item, I'm just wondering if somebody can give us clarification on whether that's still the case. Thank you. I have another one after this.
Yes, I can come in there. This is because it refers to the past financial year, well, the one that's just about to end in a couple of weeks' time. So, and for that period, that was the position of Stacey during that period. So it's simply just stating that as a fact.
Right, thanks, Anton. I'm now on to page 13, a few bullet points down, and it says, as well as presentation of this to committee, Strategic Management Board also keeps the corporate risk management arrangements under review and examine and challenge this and service risk registers. Now, I'm aware in the past that we weren't particularly hot on this sort of risk registers and so on. And in conjunction with the fact that there's been a large degree of turmoil for obvious reasons in the senior management board, I just want assurance that the service risk registers and all that sort of palaver has been suitably managed, despite the CEO being absent and the loss of Philip and Elizabeth and all the rest of it. Thank you.
Yeah, happy to comment on that as well, and others may want to come in. We have continued with our prioritization of risk, and as you say, there have been some changes to that because of senior management capacity. That was actually highlighted in the external audit report, which of course picks up our annual governance statement. So they were aware that we were on top of that, looking at it and trying to mitigate that as much as possible.
Thank you, Anton.
Thank you. Any other questions? Oh, thank you. So if somebody would like to move the recommendation, please. Councillor Keel, thank you. Is it seconded? Councillor Goodrick, thank you. Does anyone wish to speak in favour or against this agenda item? Councillor Potter.
Again, I'd just like to make something of a comment. On page 10, the first bullet point near the bottom, and these are council's key priorities, and the accountable officer was Stacey, our chief executive. Support strong, inclusive and attractive communities. Second one, harness Rydale's unique economy to deliver growth, homes and jobs. And that put me in mind of the fact that we are trying to develop some starter units at Thornton Road Industrial Estate in Pickering, which is distinctly around harnessing Rydale's economy and improving job prospects. Additionally, the local plan review around homes. Create an environment that's suitable, a sustainable safe and clean. And that brings to mind those SIL grants that we've just approved, the cattle market, the anaerobic digester. Develop our organisation as an innovative, enterprising council. And again, it brings to mind the cattle market, anaerobic digester, Thornton Road. And it just strikes me that these are, as we disappear as a council, the sort of things that I would like to think, well, I certainly think, are being done for the Rydale community, very much to the benefit and very much in line with those council's key priorities. And I think I can fairly say that I'm proud of this council for achieving that insofar as we have achieved them, and for the officers who've worked exceedingly hard and for many years in some cases to bring us to the point of potential delivery. And I just go back to the point that I do hope that North Yorkshire Council has the same key priorities and aims and not something entirely different. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? No? Okay, so sorry, beg your pardon, Councillor Oxley.
Yeah. I'd just like to, as somebody who sat on the ONS committee for many years, I'd just like to pick up as we come to this final report on governance, to say that over that time period, in my opinion, all I have seen is the governance and the standards of this council getting better and better, both with the help of our internal officers and with our outside bodies. And I think it's only right and proper to say that at this time. I am much more confident about the way that the behind the scenes, particularly of this council, has run than I've ever been in all my time on it. And that's great credit to everybody who's been involved. I don't want to turn this into a lovey session, so I'll be careful about going on much further. But I just think it needs saying, and I'd want to thank all our officers. I'd like to thank all the outside agencies, and again feel that it's a great shame we've come to this few weeks before we're actually going to be here no longer. But well done, everybody.
Thank you, and I think that will be backed by everybody here. Thank you. So, if we're happy to move forward, I will go to the vote on that. Thank you very much.
That's unanimous, Chair.
That's carried. Thank you very much. Oh, thank you, Brenda.
Apologies, Chair. I was slightly too early, but it's still unanimous.
Okay, thank you. Prophetic. Thank you. Agenda item 8. This is transfer of shares in council-owned companies as part of LGR. And this is going to be going over to Anton again. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Chair. So this is around the two companies that Rydale has some kind of control in. One is Veritao North Yorkshire, which is a company that was set up by Veritao to facilitate its service that it provides to the district councils in North Yorkshire. And obviously, with the end of those district councils, that company decision will need to be taken about it by the new council. But this is a paper asking members just to agree a bit of process. Our constitution states that members take decisions around the companies and therefore there will be some stock transfer and some other legal bits and pieces that will need to happen. And therefore, we're asking members just to delegate the authority to do that to the monitoring officer. This is entirely consistent with what the other district councils, some of the district councils are doing in terms of transferring their companies to the new council. We have, say, we have a very small number. We have, in fact, only the 2 Veritao, and the other one, which is 82 Castlegate, is actually it's something that we set up a number of years ago when we bought that property as part of the affordable housing program. We did set up a company at the time with the view to having some kind of management committee with one of the other existing tenants in that property. That didn't happen. We are the only shareholders in that company, and we're moving to essentially end that company. There's no need for it, frankly. So there's nothing needs to be done with that, because it will just cease to exist a week after vesting day. But we do need members to agree to give the monitoring officer the delegated authority just to do whatever needs to be done for that stock transfer. I hope that makes sense. I hope I'm making sense at the moment. Thank you.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Anton. Any questions? No, no questions. Okay, thank you. Could somebody please move the recommendation? Thank you, Councillor Goodrick. And can we have a seconder, please? Councillor Keel. Thank you. Does anybody wish to speak in favour or against this motion? No. Okay, well, we've debated that enough. So we'll go straight into the vote. Thank you.
Or is it? Lily will get you a new battery. If you're happy to accept that, Chair, that's a unanimous decision again.
That's fine. Thank you very much. Are we working, Councillor Potter? Good, thank you. Okay, so that's carried. Item 9, exempt information. So item 9 on the agenda is to consider a procedural motion to exclude the press and public from the meeting during the consideration of the following item. So the information refers to paragraph 1 and relates to any consultations or negotiations or contemplated consultations or negotiations in connection with any labour relations matter arising between the authority or a minister of the Crown and employees of or office holders under the authority. So in